I had some people ask me if I would do a vlog of what my symptoms were pre-diagnosis, and there is a slew of them, so I'm just going to kind of talk through them. I tried to separate them into body system, and as you may or may not know, celiac disease is a multi-system disorder, not just affecting the GI tract like most people assume. And I believe this also makes it harder to diagnose because really there is no specialist who is trained to look kind of through these different systems in the body. So when I tell you more, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Also, I started having symptoms as a young child. I don't really remember a time in my life that I was asymptomatic, but it got tremendously worse the older I got. So obviously gastrointestinal, it is the obvious one to talk about. These were very typical. And as I said earlier, I spent a lot of my life trying to fit in college and high school, and now I'm talking about poop, and that is just real special. So let's just jump into it. My gastrointestinal symptoms were very typical to celiac. I had altering constipation and terrible diarrhea. I left parties and class and rehearsals and meals because I was running to the bathroom. I was just in pain all the time, and I always had this terrible left-sided pain kind of in my lower abdomen that was just like a knife just jabbing into me. Heat occasionally made it better, but I couldn't really hug people if they put pressure there. I couldn't sleep on my left side. It was quite terrible, actually. My weight would fluctuate like up or down 5 pounds in a day. Like I could be wearing pants that were totally fine at the beginning of the day, and they would be too tight, and it wouldn't be like I was on the Michael Phelps diet. I wasn't consuming thousands and thousands of calories to make up for that weight gain. Also, as a child, I had terrible motion sickness. I still had it as an adult, but it was worse when I was younger because most of the time we'd be in the car after I had chicken fingers or pancakes or stuff that I didn't really eat as much when I got older. For my nervous system, I had terrible migraines and headaches. I had migraines so bad in college that my doctor was led to believe that I actually had a brain tumor because my vision in my right eye would go out in the middle of the day. They did an MRI and obviously came back negative. I don't have a brain tumor, but that was quite scary. I had what they call gluten ataxia, which is a lack of coordination and balance. So I would trip over myself all the time, bump into walls. Like it wouldn't be anything that if I wouldn't be walking down the street and you would be staring at me by any means, but it was something that I would always notice that my balance was kind of always off. And I had really strange tics as a child. Like I would constantly clear my throat. Doctors actually thought I could potentially have Tourette's. I clearly don't, again, but I had these very weird tics, and even as an adult I would still have kind of strange, like where I would tense my muscles. And I don't know if this is part of the endocrine system or not, but I had terrible debilitating anxiety. I look back and I could think I might have even been delusional sometimes because my anxiety was so terrible. Like I constantly worried about relationships, about my grades, about everything, and I worked so hard to cover it all up, and I just tried to stuff it away and act like it wasn't happening, and I just thought I was crazy in a lot of ways. I really always felt like I didn't belong, that I didn't fit in, that I was just different, and again, I couldn't figure out why. I was like my peers in every other way, but I felt different. And my circulatory system, I had really poor circulation. My hands and feet would actually swell at times. They would be numb. They would get red, fall asleep often. I can't say this. Can you say this word for me? Integumentary system, which is the organ system that protects the body, which is skin, nails, and hair for the most part. My nails constantly broke. They never grew. My hair wasn't necessarily falling out, but it was getting very thin. It would break all the time and grow very slowly. Since going gluten-free, my hair grows like crazy. I have to get it cut all the time. I had keratosis pilaris on my arms, which I still get if I have accidental gluten exposure, and it's like very it's just dry skin on your arms, like little white bumps, and doctors told me I needed special creams, that I just had really dry skin, that nothing made it better. And then going gluten-free, my arms like cleared up. It's incredible. I also got very bad cold and canker sores in my mouth all the time, and that doesn't happen nearly as much. My respiratory system, I had excess phlegm, which is common in celiac. My skeletal system, I had really, really, really low bone density. I actually had 2 ribs crack when I was riding in a car and we hit a pothole. And I had my heel actually cracked when I was just walking about a year ago, right before I was diagnosed. And I had terrible joint pain in my wrists, my ankles, my knees, and my lower back. And basically, emotionally, I was just spent. Like, all of this, I never felt good. I never wanted to go out. I never wanted to leave my apartment. But I just felt like I was missing out. And I felt like everybody must feel this way. If every doctor told me I was completely healthy, nothing's wrong, you know, you're an athlete, you work out, that's why your joints hurt, and I don't know. So I remember this one day in my 20s, honestly, one day I remember feeling normal, and it was like the craziest feeling. I was really, I was on some crazy diet, and I was poor at the time, so all I ate was chicken and steamed vegetables, and I remember waking up after doing this for about 2 days and just feeling great. I didn't have a headache, I didn't feel sick, and I remember my dad was in town and I hung out with him, and it was just amazing to feel good for the first time. Like, and it kind of, looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I had one day in my 20s, I mean, I'm only 24 now, but that I actually remember feeling well. So that's kind of crazy. And I guess that's all. That is a lot of information. Obviously, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, Tinsley@celiebo.com. I'm happy to answer any questions further. Message me, leave me a comment, whatever you like. I hope everyone's doing well out there, and it's amazing once you go gluten-free how your life can change completely. So thanks so much for watching. As always, it's from Have Not to Have and gluten-free dining.